There is a side of greatness that fans rarely get to see. Behind every championship trophy, every standing ovation, and every unforgettable performance lies a battle that never appears on the scoreboard. Even the athletes who reach the very top of the world carry fears they struggle to overcome. For Japanese pair skating stars Riku Miura and Ryuichi Kihara, known around the world as Riku, the journey to becoming world champions was not built on confidence alone. It was forged through fear, sacrifice, loneliness, and an unshakable belief in one another. Today they stand as icons of Japanese figure skating, winners of the World Championships, champions of the Grand Prix final, and pioneers who transformed the future of pair skating in Japan. But hidden beneath those historic achievements is a story that many fans have never heard. Long before the medals and international acclaim, Riku Miura was fighting a fear so powerful that it threatened to stand between her and her dreams. Ironically, that fear centered around one of the most important and spectacular elements in pair skating, the lift. For spectators, lifts are breathtaking moments that seem almost magical. A female skater rises effortlessly into the air, soaring above the ice with elegance and grace while her partner guides her through a perfectly synchronized movement. To the audience, it looks beautiful. To the athletes performing it, however, it can be terrifying. One mistake can result in a dangerous fall from several feet above the ice. A split-second loss of balance can lead to serious injury. Every lift requires complete trust, flawless timing, and unwavering concentration. Looking at Miura today, it is almost impossible to imagine that she once struggled with fear every time she left the ground. Yet that was her reality. Every practice session became a challenge not only of skill but of courage. Every successful lift represented another small victory over the doubts in her mind. But the fear of lifts was only one obstacle standing in her way. At the same time, she was facing an entirely different battle away from the rink. As her skating career advanced, Miura found herself living and training far from home. The transition was far more difficult than many people realized. New environments, unfamiliar cultures, language barriers, and the constant pressure to deliver results created a mountain of challenges for a young athlete. Friends and family were thousands of miles away. The comfort of home had been replaced by uncertainty and expectations. Coaches who knew her during those years have spoken about the homesickness she experienced. There were days when the emotional weight felt overwhelming. Yet this is where the true heart of the story begins. Many people believe that strength means having no fear. In reality, the strongest individuals are often the ones who move forward despite being afraid. Courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is the decision to keep going when fear is present. That lesson would eventually become one of the defining themes of Miura's career. Pair skating is often described as one of the most demanding disciplines in all of figure skating. It requires far more than jumps and spins. Athletes must master throws, lifts, twists, death spirals, and countless technical elements that do not exist in singles competition. Every movement depends on precision and trust. Success cannot be achieved by one skater alone. Two individuals must function as a single unit. When Miura made the transition into pair skating, Japan did not have a rich history of success in the discipline. Compared to traditional powerhouses such as Russia, China, Canada, and the United States, Japan's presence in pair skating was relatively limited. There were few examples to follow and few established pathways to international dominance. In many ways, Miura was stepping into unknown territory. The challenges appeared immediately. Progress did not happen overnight. Techniques that looked effortless during competitions required countless hours of repetition behind the scenes. Mistakes happened regularly. Falls were inevitable. Frustration became part of the process. Yet through every setback, one constant remained by her side, Ryuichi Kihara. Kihara's own journey had been filled with obstacles. Injuries, partnership changes, disappointments, and years of perseverance had shaped him into a resilient competitor. He understood struggle because he had lived through it himself. That shared understanding became one of the greatest strengths of their partnership. When Miura battled fear, Kihara provided support. When challenges threatened to derail their progress, they faced them together. Their connection extended beyond technical execution. It became the foundation upon which their success was built. Many athletes possess exceptional talent. Some have remarkable physical gifts. Others benefit from ideal circumstances. What separates Riku is something harder to measure. Trust cannot be quantified on a score sheet. It cannot be captured in statistics. Yet it remains one of the most powerful forces in sports. Every lift they performed required trust. Every throw jump demanded trust. Every ambitious program relied on trust. Over time, that trust transformed their skating. As their partnership matured, their performances began reaching new levels of artistry and emotional depth. International judges and audiences noticed something special. Their routines were no longer simply collections of technical elements. They became stories told through movement. Their chemistry created moments that resonated far beyond the final score. The struggles they had endured together gave authenticity to every performance. Viewers could sense it. Judges could feel it. Their shared experiences became part of the art they created on the ice. Gradually, they climbed the rankings. Competition after competition, season after season, they continued improving. The victories became larger. The expectations became higher. Eventually, they reached a milestone that once seemed almost impossible. They became world champions. For Japan, it was a historic achievement. For Miura and Kihara, it was the reward for years of sacrifice, persistence, and resilience. Yet becoming world champions did not mark the end of their challenges. In many ways, it marked the beginning of a completely new chapter. Athletes often discover that reaching the summit is difficult, but staying there can be even harder. Success creates pressure. Expectations grow heavier. Every performance is scrutinized. Every result is compared to previous triumphs. Suddenly, the role of challenger is replaced by the role of champion. The entire world begins chasing you. History has shown that many athletes struggle with this transition. Some never fully adapt to the demands that come with being number one. But Miura and Kihara refused to become satisfied with past accomplishments. Instead of protecting their success, they focused on evolving. They continued refining their programs, strengthening their skills, and pushing themselves to improve. Their mindset remained rooted in growth rather than comfort. This mentality reflected one of the most important lessons Miura had learned throughout her career. The greatest opponent is rarely another competitor. More often, it is the version of yourself that existed yesterday. Every fear she had overcome became a source of strength. Every setback became valuable experience. Every difficult moment prepared her for future challenges. The homesickness that once brought tears became part of her personal growth. The failed practices became stepping stones toward excellence. The fear of lifts that once haunted her transformed into confidence built through repetition, trust, and determination. Looking back, those hardships were not obstacles blocking the path to success. They were the path itself. And perhaps that is why the story of Riku resonates so deeply with fans around the world. Their journey is not simply about winning medals. It is about proving that people can change. It is about demonstrating that fear can be conquered. It is about showing that trust can elevate ordinary talent into something extraordinary. Every time they step onto the ice, they carry that message with them. Their performances remind audiences that greatness is not reserved for those who never struggle. Greatness belongs to those who continue moving forward when the struggle seems impossible. And for Riku Miura, the young skater who once feared being lifted into the air, that lesson would eventually become the foundation of a legacy that was only beginning to unfold. That legacy was only beginning to unfold, and the world had no idea just how much more pressure, sacrifice, and transformation was still ahead for Riku Miura and Ryuichi Kihara. Becoming world champions did not bring the kind of permanent comfort people imagine. Instead, it changed everything around them. The spotlight became brighter. The expectations became heavier. And suddenly, every competition carried a different kind of weight. They were no longer the challengers fighting to prove themselves. They were the standard everyone else was chasing. In elite sport, that shift changes everything. When you are the hunter, you move freely with nothing to lose. But when you become the hunted, every mistake feels magnified, every weakness exposed, and every performance judged against perfection that is almost impossible to maintain. For Riku, this new reality tested them in ways even their championship victory had not prepared them for. Training was no longer just about improvement. It was about survival at the top. Every lift, every throw, every twist had to be refined again and again because their competitors were studying them, copying them, and pushing beyond them. The sport itself was evolving faster than ever, and standing still meant falling behind. But what made Miura and Kihara different was not just their skill, it was their mindset. They understood that staying world-class required constant reinvention. There was no room for comfort. There was only forward motion. Behind the scenes, the physical demands were also increasing. Pair skating is brutal on the body. The lifts that once terrified Miura had now become second nature, but they still required immense strength, timing, and precision. Any slight imbalance could still turn a perfect moment into a dangerous fall. And with increased difficulty in their routines, the margin for error became even smaller. At the same time, injuries and fatigue began to appear as silent opponents. Not dramatic, not always visible, but always present. Every elite athlete learns this truth eventually. Pain is part of the process, but managing it is what defines longevity. Through it all, Kihara remained a stabilizing force. His experience, his resilience, and his calm presence allowed the partnership to remain grounded even when external pressure intensified. He had seen setbacks before in his career, and that history gave him a different perspective on success. He was never overwhelmed by a single result, whether good or bad. Instead, he focused on consistency. That attitude helped Miura as well, especially in moments when expectations became overwhelming. But perhaps the most remarkable evolution was happening internally within Miura herself. The same athlete who once struggled with fear during lifts had now developed into someone who performed them with authority and confidence. It was not an overnight transformation. It was built through thousands of repetitions, countless failed attempts, and gradual emotional strengthening. Fear did not disappear completely. It never does for elite athletes, but it changed form. What once felt like danger became controlled intensity. What once felt like panic became focus. That transformation did not happen in isolation. It was shaped by trust. Trust in her partner. Trust in the training process. Trust in her own ability to adapt and overcome. In many ways, trust became the invisible foundation of everything they did. Without it, no technical skill would have mattered. With it, even the most difficult elements became possible. As their reputation grew internationally, so did their influence on Japanese figure skating. Before Riku, Japan was not widely recognized as a dominant force in pair skating. Singles skating had produced stars, but pairs remained a discipline where Japan struggled to break through on the world stage. Their success changed that narrative almost overnight. Young skaters in Japan began to see pair skating differently. It was no longer an impossible dream dominated by traditional powerhouses. It was now something achievable, something real, something visible. That shift in perception is one of the most powerful effects an athlete can have, not just winning titles, but changing what others believe is possible. Miura and Kihara became symbols of that change. Their performances were no longer just routines on ice. They became messages to an entire generation of skaters who were watching closely, believing for the first time that they could follow a similar path. But success at this level always comes with emotional cost. The higher they climbed, the more isolated their world sometimes felt. Constant travel, constant training, constant expectations. These things create distance from a normal life. While fans see medals and podiums, athletes often experience repetition, exhaustion, and pressure that never fully switches off. For Miura, who once struggled with homesickness, this was not unfamiliar territory. But over time, she had learned how to adapt emotionally. She built resilience not by ignoring her feelings, but by learning how to carry them without letting them interfere with performance. That kind of emotional control is often overlooked in sports, but it is essential for survival at the top level. Meanwhile, the rivalry landscape in international pair skating continued to intensify. New teams emerged with higher technical difficulty, pushing the boundaries of what was considered possible. The sport was entering an era where athleticism and artistry had to coexist at extreme levels. In response, Riku adapted again. They increased difficulty, refined their artistic expression, and continued evolving their identity on the ice. They were no longer just competing, they were shaping the direction of the sport itself. As major championships approached each season, the pressure surrounding them grew heavier. Every performance carried national expectations. Every routine was analyzed frame by frame. But instead of breaking under that pressure, they continued to respond with maturity. Experience taught them that pressure does not disappear. It must be managed. And over time, they became experts at performing under it. One of the most powerful aspects of their journey is how their partnership matured beyond athletics. What began as a technical collaboration evolved into something far deeper. There is a unique understanding between them that cannot be taught. It is built through shared struggle, mutual respect, and years of navigating both victory and disappointment together. That connection allows them to perform in sync at a level that feels almost instinctive. They do not just execute elements, they anticipate each other. They move as one unit, reacting without hesitation. This level of synchronization is what separates good pair teams from great ones. And for Riku, it became their signature. As they continued competing at the highest level, conversations naturally turned toward legacy. Not just what they had achieved, but what they were building for the future of the sport. Their impact was no longer limited to medals. It extended to inspiration, representation, and transformation of an entire discipline within their country. They had become pioneers without ever setting out to be. But perhaps the most compelling part of their story is that it still feels unfinished. Even after world titles and global recognition, there is still more to chase, more to refine, and more to prove, not to the world, but to themselves. Every time they step onto the ice, they are not just defending a title. They are continuing a story that began with fear, uncertainty, and doubt, and evolved into something far greater than anyone could have predicted. And as long as they continue skating together, that story is still being written, one performance at a time.